Guys, it's official. Microsoft has killed Windows 10, but there may actually be some ways you can still get by.
And one of those ways is actually installing Windows 11 on your PC that you may think is not supported, and a bunch of other options as well that we'll talk about after a word from today's sponsor.
ASRock and their X870 Taichi Creator motherboard. So many people overlook how important it is to not cheap out on your motherboard, especially for those high-end builds that can take advantage of a board like this one from ASRock, the X870 Taichi Creator. This motherboard features an 18+2+1 power phase design with super beefy VRM heatsinks to bring the most out of your CPU. On the front of the board, you get 2 Gen 5 NVMe SSD slots and 2 PCIe Gen 5x16 slots for multi-GPU setups and AI-generated applications. And this board doesn't fall short when it comes to the I/O. You get a 5 and a 10 gig Ethernet port, 2 40 gig USB Type-C ports, and 10 USB Type-A ports. Not running Ethernet? Well, you're covered with the latest Wi-Fi 7 protocols as well. All of these features packed into this motherboard make it an awesome option for creators out there looking to get the most out of their PCs. It's time to stop cheaping out one of the most important parts in your gaming PC build. So to learn more about the X870 Taichi Creator, check out the links in the description down below. Big thanks to ASRock for sponsoring today's video. Now, back to you, Matt and Jackson.
So as you guys know, in October of 2025, Windows 10 support has officially ended. Now, what does that mean? Well, your computer's not going to just blow up all of a sudden. It just means that if you're still running Windows 10, the standard version, then you're no longer going to get pushed important security updates, and pretty soon probably future driver updates that are going to be pretty important for you to keep on gaming.
And the reason a lot of people aren't just switching to Windows 11 is one, well, people don't seem to like Windows 11, but that's a topic for another video. And two, some of their hardware isn't even supported on Windows 11 because Microsoft made it incredibly difficult to move PCs that we think are still capable to their operating system legitly. But that's what this video is about. We're going to show you guys that you can have Windows 11 on unsupported hardware, and it is easier than you think. And in this video, we're going to show you step by step how to do it, but also not just show you how to get on Windows 11, but also show you guys there is a Windows 10 version that has a lot more support up to the year 2032, or you could go down the Linux rabbit hole, which again is, well, not super advised, but an option you can consider for these older PCs. But first, we're going to start with Windows 11 and how we could do it the Rufus method.
All right, are you guys ready to learn the Rufus method of installing Windows 11? Pro, home, take your pick. So first thing you're gonna need is a USB flash drive. This is the only physical thing you're going to need. And the cool part about this is once you make this into an ISO, an installable ISO, you can use this unlimited number of times, and it's offline. You're not going to be using, you don't need the internet or anything. So once you make this one USB, you can use it on as many laptops, tablets, or computers as you want. The only thing it doesn't cover is actually activating the copy. So basically, if you ever had that little watermark in the bottom right of your screen where it says activate Windows now, that's what I mean by a watermark. Realistically, a lot of people actually just use Windows anyways, not unactivated. I don't really like having the watermark. There's a lot of ways you can find keys for really cheap, where you don't have to buy them straight from Microsoft or Best Buy for $200. You guys do a little bit of market research, you can find those keys for really good prices, and they're legit keys. The first thing we're gonna do is download Rufus. So the website, it's pretty basic. It's got a little bit of bloatware on it, but basically rufus.ie, and you're going to go to this download here, Rufus 4.1111.exe, and it's very small. It's 1.8 megabytes, and it's going to open to this right here. Looks really simple, right? Now Rufus is very smart. As soon as you plug in a USB flash drive, it'll typically just pop right up. So this is my 32 gig flash drive from Micro Center. And then we're gonna choose our actual ISO. So it's a disk or image. That's what an ISO is, basically like a disk image. And we're going to go to where we have our image from Microsoft Download, which I'm gonna show you guys how to get that too. Notice how it says disk image file. So it's we have the latest version right now, Windows 11 25H2. So we're gonna press select, standard Windows installation. You can choose MBR, I would do GBT. You can do UEFI, and then you can name the actual key. So I'm gonna call it Rufus Windows 11. And you really shouldn't need to change anything else on it. So you should be able to press start, and it's gonna give you a menu here. This menu is where the magic happens. So check this out. Remove requirement for 4+ gigs of RAM, secure boot, and TPM 2.0. That's essentially what makes all of these older systems unable to upgrade to Windows 11. So this install from our testing works on almost anything. You'll see we're going to be putting it on a 3rd gen Intel system. Microsoft claims you cannot install Windows 11 on anything 8th gen or older, which is BS, by the way, because we've been using these installs for like months, years now, and Windows 11 still works amazing on these older PCs. It actually works way better than you may think, especially as long as you have an SSD. That's the most important thing, by the way, guys, is having a solid state drive. You can also disable things like the privacy questions, which that's really cool. It makes installs a lot quicker. You can disable auto BitLocker, which please. I hate BitLocker. I don't know exactly what this one means here. Windows CA 2023. You guys can probably let me know down below. People are a lot smarter than me what that means. But these are basically what I run with. You can also remove the requirement for an online Microsoft account. Also, oh my gosh, Windows, please just take that away. You should still have the option to skip that step. I don't have internet, but usually you just have to remove the Ethernet. You're good to go. So we're gonna press OK. It's gonna say, do you want to delete everything? Yes. And now it's gonna go. It takes not too long, actually. It might take like 4 minutes. Now to actually get the Windows 11 install, which funny enough did not work for me, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit on why. So basically with this one, it's really just like if you have Windows 10 and you wanna upgrade to 11, assuming it'll even let you do that, which a lot of the PCs won't. This is basically just to create the tool. This is not the actual ISO. This is the ISO, so I just had to double check. You don't really want this media creation tool because you'll use it, but then it's still going to give you all of the requirements. So here's the actual ISO, which is like 8 gigs. So you'll notice here, this is like multi-edition. That's what's cool, is this ISO right here has all of the Windows 11 versions, so you can install Home, Pro, whatever you want. So basically, I want you guys to see when I press confirm, it does this crap now, which this never used to be a thing. This is a very new thing, but I think this is their way of like basically just stopping a lot of people from being able to download. Like notice I get this error. Sometimes it just never loads for me. Luckily, I downloaded this version a couple weeks ago. This one right here, 1125H2. I downloaded it straight from Microsoft's site, but I had to try 3 different PCs in our office till one finally worked. I don't know if our IP is blocked. I don't know. But I do know that it seems like Microsoft is making it increasingly harder and harder to make this work. This is still a working way, and I guarantee you can find these ISO files from tons of different websites. I'm not going to say where, I honestly don't know where, but I guarantee you they're probably out there on a lot of those media sharing sites, so you won't have any problems finding an ISO, even if Microsoft won't let you download it from their website, which they really should. Once this download is finished, by the way, the USB is just ready to go. It is now it's going to act like it's a disk basically. So any PC you insert it to, you click into the BIOS, you're good to go. Matt and I will show you how to actually do that. So let's just wait till this is done, and then we'll go ahead and report back when we're installing Windows.
All right, so Matt has picked a good candidate. This is an Optiplex 9010. The good old days. We love these old systems, but you can see this one has an i5-3470. Now, Microsoft's official site, and I love how many times they switch this up on us, by the way. They now say you need 8th gen Intel or newer, or for AMD, I think it's 2000 series or newer. Baffling, because these systems are still amazing. The biggest thing, and I told people in the voiceover room, just get an SSD. A lot of people think that like these older systems just suck, like they can't run Windows 11, but it's really the hard drives that are in them. If you throw an SSD in, you're gonna be just fine. This one, does this have an SSD in it?
It does have an SSD already in it.
Cool. All right. So we're going to use one of the ports in the front. I'm just doing this so you guys can actually see. I mean, it doesn't really matter what port you use. USB 3 is always going to be quicker, which actually, let's do supersonic.
Supersonic.
That's what that stands for, right? So the PC is off right now. We have our Windows 11 Rufus Media install. We're going to turn the system on. And we don't know yet if this is in UEFI or legacy. That is one thing, is Rufus will tell us if this system is set to legacy boot, it will pop up an error and we need to change it over to UEFI. Now, if we don't get that error, then we know we're not in legacy, we're in UEFI, which honestly most systems should be running UEFI by now.
And this did have Windows 10 installed via legacy, so it's not going to boot to the Windows 10 install anymore. It's actually going to, look at the flash drive.
Yeah, usually computers are smart and the BIOSes will be set. It's called a boot order, where it'll let you pick which order you want the system to attempt to boot from first. And this is a boot device. A lot of people maybe don't put that together, that, you know, when you boot into Windows 10, you can also boot into a bootable media. That's what this Windows 11 Rufus is. It's basically a CD. It thinks it's a CD.
So if you have Windows already installed on your PC, you have to make sure to figure out what your BIOS key is, which we'll have some demo on screen here. That'll be a little bit easier to see, where you're wanting to hit a key on the keyboard. Sometimes it's delete, F12, F2, depending on what you're looking for. You want to get into the BIOS. You want to make sure you're booting to the flash drive and not your hard drive. So then once you actually boot, you can erase the Windows 10 install, which it goes without saying, if you're going to do any of these steps in this video, be sure to back up your data, because this is not an upgrade option.
No.
That will not work. You're going to have to do a new install to make these work.
Yeah, and we've done this so many times, we know as soon as we're like, this is the good news, you know what I mean? It's like, oh. And then you got one more step, and that's going to be, can we actually install it to the drive? We're going to do install Windows 11 You agree that everything will be deleted. That's just a disclaimer. So this is the part where everybody thinks they're like, oh gosh, I don't have my key yet. You don't need it. You press, I don't have a product key. I'm really terrified for the day that Windows probably inevitably will get rid of that, where you have to put the key in first.
And there's a chance too that the motherboard of this Office PC has a built-in key already, so you may not need to reactivate.
Look at all the versions. That's what I was saying is really cool about these installs is, and this is actually Windows that allows you to do this. It's called the multi-edition install. That's all they even give you for an ISO, which is nice. I'm like, yeah, give me all of them.
Windows 11 Pro is recommended.
Yeah. Yep, Windows 11 Pro. Now I will say with all these Office systems, this one actually does have a 7 Pro activation key on top, but a lot of them are home, so it's not a bad idea just to do whatever version you already have. This is, it took us a while to figure this out. So how this works is, you'll notice our USB flash drive is disk 1, because it's 28.9 gigs, and the reason it's not like 32 like it's supposed to be is because there's some other stuff here. So we wanna make sure that we don't touch any of this, and it shouldn't let you. Usually, like you see, we can't delete anything, that's good. Now here though, we already have Windows 10, so we are gonna need to delete on disk 0. We're gonna get rid of any extra stuff because we don't want to have conflicting installs. Now notice how disk 0, unallocated space, it's just completely free right now. That's perfect. We don't have any other disk 0s. We're good to go. So we press next on that. It's about to get spicy. We're about to get Windows 11 on this, how old is this PC? Like 15 years old?
15, like yeah, probably.
All right, so install Windows 11 Pro, keep nothing, yes. And then boom. So this, pretty much at this point, you know it's gonna work. We're good to go. So this is probably gonna take about 20 minutes in all honesty, especially because we have an SSD. And when we get back, we'll have Windows 11. Now, I told you guys in the voiceover room, you do need to activate it. You don't need to, you should if you don't want that stupid watermark in the bottom, but we know some of you guys at home don't care. So this is what it looks like when you got Windows 11 installed. You're just gonna go through the screen here, a couple of, languages, keyboard layout, stuff like that. Now ours is gonna be extra fun because we get to do this. I don't have internet. This is the thing that I wish Windows would just have baked in anyways, but Rufus comes in clutch. They get rid of a lot of the terms of service. This one actually has us name it. Now some of these Rufus installs will already have the account name even, where you don't even need to do any of this. It just goes right into it.
It makes it very, very easy. And again, if you're installing this on multiple PCs, you have the same thing across the board. You can skip all the requirements and you're good to go. We do have the Ethernet unplugged. If for whatever reason, for some reason, it does make you sign into a Microsoft account, you can do a little hack where you do Shift F10 and type in this command right here, and it'll restart and let you come back in and skip your Ethernet requirements. But the newer you get with the Windows installs, the more likely that may not work. So again, user beware and make sure to use the Rufus install on the first install to make things easy. Jumping into Windows 11. Guys, don't be scared. Don't be scared. I'll plug up Ethernet real quick so we can show you guys the version we have installed and how we can actually do some updates.
Yep, and you can always go and check. I know we may have mentioned this earlier, but you may have to get an activation, but if you're installing an older PC, surprisingly, it'll typically, come on.
Oh, okay, there we go. Okay.
Active.
Hey, there it
we
is.
Go. Yep, Windows 11 Pro activated. So that's because there was already a Windows 7 Pro key. So a lot of you guys don't know too. Windows 7, Windows 8, 10, and 11. All those keys work the same as long as they're the right install. So like Pro, Home. Let's check and see what version we're currently on. Let's see if we're on version 25.
Boom.
Yep, 25H2. So there really shouldn't be. Let's see if we got any updates. There might be a couple basic, like for drivers.
I think there was a cumulative when I first tested it. I don't know if it's just already the next 25H2 cumulative update, but we'll see what we actually get. But the big thing is we're getting updates. And that's the biggest thing is you want to make sure you build this Rufus USB with the latest version you possibly can, no matter what time you're watching this video, because at that point, as long as it still works with Rufus, you'll be able to get these updates.
We got 2 cumulative for different things, but we'll run these and get back to you guys, make sure that they actually install, because that's an issue we have seen with some older builds. Sometimes it'll still be usable, but certain updates won't install. So we'll see.
Okay, it's been a day. Just because you can get Windows 11 installed on these PCs doesn't mean it's gonna not take a long time. So we let it go overnight, get all the Windows updates going. As you guys can see, we do have the cumulative update that we can still get. And we already installed another update, which means we're getting all the Windows updates. They're working perfectly fine, but that doesn't mean that it's going to continue to get those updates, because there is a theoretical chance that, and we've experienced this using a 24H2 copy off camera, where you eventually hit a wall where you just don't get any more updates, the big major updates from 24 to 25. That is a little bit of a concern. We don't necessarily know how many of those you may get if you run the latest version. Maybe you'll cap out before 2026's new release from Windows. In terms of security updates and getting on Windows 11, you can make it happen. It just takes a little bit of know-how and resilience to make it work. So we got it working. It's doing good. It's getting updates, and this PC is an old PC. Again, I'll verify here so you guys can see what's going on here, but we got an i5 3470 and the RX 6400 running Windows 11 with no problems. Now let's show you guys an option that you can do if you don't want to go Windows 11. You just want to stick with Windows 10. It's what you know and love, and you really want to just have it for a couple more years. Let's do Windows 10 LTSC, a version of Windows 10 that still has support, and the keys are actually incredibly cheap to get. So let's talk about how you can set up one of these flash drives.
All right, guys, I'm gonna show you how to get a USB ready with Windows 10 LTSC. Now, I will say this process is a bit more difficult than Windows 11 because you're not just downloading the Windows 11 ISO from Microsoft's website. You do have to do a little bit of hunting to find the ISO, but be sure to look up Windows 10 LTSC. There's a lot of resources out there that'll point you in the right direction, if you get what I'm saying. And once you get those ISOs installed, it's the same process as running Rufus with Windows 11. You basically will open up Rufus. You'll then pick your flash drive, which right now we have the flash drive installed that we had Windows 11 modified installed on, which we can use the same one. You're going to pick your ISO by hitting select. For me, I don't have the ISO downloaded on this PC, but you would select the ISO you do download for Windows 10 LTSC. You hit open, you hit start, and then from there you have a flash drive ready to go with Windows 10 LTSC, which will install just like Windows 11, and we're going to show you guys how that works.
All right, guys, so same deal applies. We're gonna plug in our flash drive. We're gonna turn things on, and I'm gonna hit F12 because we already have an install ready to go here. We wanna make sure that we don't boot to our existing Windows 11 install because we're getting rid of that. We're just getting rid of it. We're doing Windows 10, but it's supported. It has updates for a long time service channel. This looks fun.
This is normal.
This is normal.
Working.
This is normal Optiplex stuff, by the way. Your Office PC sometimes will do goofy things like this when it just doesn't know how to handle the splash screen. Here it goes. Back to UEFI, we're gonna go to our USB. Go away, weird artifacting lines. Okay, so here's the setup. It's very much the same as Windows 11 for the most part. Just looks a little bit different, so don't be scared. But if you installed Windows 10 before, this will feel very familiar. So you're gonna hit I don't have a product key. Now what we're going to do is install the IoT edition because Enterprise, I believe the year is like 2028 or something like that is supported till, but the IoT edition for whatever reason is 2032. So you might as well get the one with the longest support here. So we're gonna install that one. That's why Microsoft will kill your PC, but Smart Fridge, you're gonna keep on going. We're gonna do custom install. As you guys can see here, the only thing that is showing up this time is our drive 0, which again, the other one for some reason shows you the drive you can delete, but this one doesn't. So we're just going through the effort of deleting all these partitions.
Yeah, you basically just spam delete everything.
All right, guys, so what I ended up doing was we were having some issues formatting the partitions for whatever reason from this flash drive. It just kept freezing up. Could be our install's a little weird, but what I did was I booted back to our Windows 11, deleted the partitions, and went back to the Windows 10 LTSC and deleted everything. You at home may not have these issues, but if you do, it's always nice to have extra flash drives around so you can do stuff like that. So it is installing now. Then we'll get into Windows, and from there we'll show you guys what Windows 10 LTSC IoT is all about. It's very cut down, but it is Windows 10. Okay guys, we are now in Windows 10 LTSC after the partitioning issue is now good to go. We're gonna hit United States for the setup. Again, this is just traditional Windows setup. I just want to show you guys how easy it is to just run through. We are going to run some updates because we do have our Ethernet driver installed, so it'll probably try to install some updates for us. But again, we have access to updates, so that's really cool. And this version will be supported for a long, long time, which is very nice, especially for PC gamers who want to stick to Windows 10. Now, obviously the big downside is you still have to reinstall stuff to make this work. So you do want to back up all your files to get that going, but we're gonna let these run updates and then we'll be on the Windows 10 LTSC home screen, which will show you some of the weird things about it. It's missing some things, but honestly it's for good and it's a pretty lightweight version of Windows, so you might see some performance benefits from it anyways. Okay guys, we have Windows 10 LTSC installed, and if you guys have not seen this before, you're probably like, Matt, you're just on Windows 10. I am, but it's missing all the Copilot stuff or any sort of AI stuff built in. It is incredibly bare bones. I mean, look at this. You hit the start menu, you have Edge. That is it. The one funny thing that I always like to mention too is it includes the old calculator you see from, I believe, like Windows 7 Why, I don't know. It has the old calculator. The real reason you're here is we want to show you guys the system info here. So we currently have the 19044 build of the IoT edition. And if you go to about this PC, there it is. We are currently on version 21H2, which was installed again on the 20th, 2025. Again, we have the right time on this PC now, so it's actually gonna show that accurately when we do install it. And then if we go to updates, we are currently getting the final, basically, feature update that you will get on Windows 10. It is a 1025 update, 21H2. Again, you're not getting any new features with this, but if there's like a major security break, there will be support for this version of Windows pushed to you, and supposedly support for GPU drivers. We'll see in the future if that is the case. I would assume the major companies will have to support this version of Windows 10 for their drivers, but ultimately, it's kind of a waiting game. We'll have to see where that goes, but this one is up and working. Now, let's say Windows 11 is not a good option. Let's say Windows 10 is not a good option, and let's say this is a spare PC, you just want to try something different. That's where Linux comes in, and I have a distro for you that may be fun or may not be ideal for you, but we're going to show you guys how to set up a USB for that.
Okay guys, so my Linux distro of choice, especially for those who are gaming, is installing Bazzite. Bazzite basically makes a version of SteamOS, and it's very easy to install. Now we're going to show you guys how to get the ISO for this so you can build a USB. The Rufus side of things is very much the same as Windows. You just take the ISO, you hit install on a flash drive, and you're good to go. But there are a few more things you have to do to figure out which ISO you need. So we're going to go to bazzite.gg, go to download Bazzite. We'll scroll all the way down here, and you want to pick your hardware. So for us, we want to run either desktop or home theater setup. If you want to use this as a normal PC, I recommend the default desktop environment, but that doesn't limit you from being able to go to that Steam big picture mode if you want to. It just makes it to where it's desktop forward. So we're going to go desktop here, and then from there you're going to pick your primary vendor of your GPU. Again, with this version of Linux, you are going to have some limitations on what actual GPUs you can go with, but I have had luck with some older GPUs just working out of the gate, so your mileage may vary. But as you see right here, we have AMD RX 400 series / AI GPUs, which again with our 6400 that's in our PC, that'll work perfectly fine. We're going to click on that. We're going to pick the KDE environment because that is the most ideal environment for Bazzite in my opinion. And then with the desktop version, you can determine whether or not you want to have the game mode load directly into the Steam gaming mode or do a traditional desktop experience. Again, it's ultimately up to you. You can alternate between both, but it just depends if you want this to be a normal desktop PC or are you converting this PC into, let's say, a living room gaming setup. That's also an option to consider. So we're just going to hit no for now, and we're going to hit download Bazzite. And from there, you'll see in the top right corner, we have another ISO downloading. So once the ISO is done, which I'm going to cancel because I already have an ISO ready to go, we're going to pull up Rufus once again. We're going to select our image. This one I actually have downloaded, Bazzite Deck, and then we're going to select our flash drive. Everything will auto default to the proper settings. We're going to hit start, and then from there we will have a Bazzite USB ready, and we'll show you guys how the Linux install process goes.
All right, guys, so we have our little Bazzite flash drive right here. Will my camera want to focus on it? Potentially, doesn't really matter. We're gonna plug this thing into the USB 3 port once again. Same procedure applies. Now, you wanna make sure with this one that you have Secure Boot disabled, which we'll go into the BIOS just to make sure. We're gonna hit F2 on this PC to get into the BIOS. Oh, I hit F12 first, but you know what, this works same. We'll go into BIOS settings. We're going to go down to advanced boot options. So I know go to security. We're going to go all the way down to, let's see, is there secure boot, TPM security, that is off, deactivate. Oh, secure boot, there's literally a secure boot option on here. As you guys can see, secure boot is disabled, so we are good to go here. Now we're going to back out, try to get back into that one-time boot menu. And then we're going to boot to our Bazzite drive, which again, I'll show you guys step by step how to do this because it's a little bit different than setting up a Windows install, but the procedure is the same. You're basically creating an account, you're picking which drive you want it to go to, you're erasing that drive, you're letting the install go, and there you go. As you guys can see, we have two options right here. We can test this media or install Bazzite. I highly recommend just hitting install. Trust the process, trust it's gonna work. Now here is the Linux moment where you know you're on the right track, where a bunch of things start popping up on screen and you have no idea what's happening. Ah, there it is, and it adjusted to the 4K monitor, so now it's very hard to see. Gotta love that. But there's all those different things. That means we're loading in. That's a good sign. Starting installer 1 moment. Using a glossy OLED for this is a choice. All right, guys, we are in Bazzite. Well, the installer, I swapped to the capture card so it was easier for you guys to see now that I know everything is set up. We're gonna go ahead and hit continue here, pick your language of choice. After we hit continue, we're gonna go through and pick our time and date. So it auto-detected already, which is cool because the system is now aware of what's happening, and I am plugged up to Ethernet, so that does help as well. So you don't have to worry about any of that. For the system, we're gonna hit installation destination. Here is our drive that we're gonna be installing to. And what you're gonna need to do is make sure it's checked. So once it's checked, we're gonna go ahead and make sure the storage configuration is set to automatic. And when we hit done, it'll say it needs to reclaim space because we have Windows already installed. If you have nothing installed, it won't say that, but either way, hit reclaim space. We're going to delete all partitions and hit reclaim space because we want to get rid of all the Windows stuff off this SSD. It is now gone. Network is set up, user creation. Now, Linux is very heavy on having an account for when you go into terminal to do things. Not the focus of this video, but I highly recommend setting up some sort of username. I'm gonna go with Toasty and some sort of password. You need some sort of password, so we'll just do, we went with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not the most secure password in the world, but it'll work for this install. And then we're gonna go ahead and hit begin installation. Now, Bazzite's gonna run through a whole install here. Hopefully we have no errors, but we'll run through this entire setup here. Then it will boot back into a what looks like Steam Deck interface. You go through that whole process, and then you have basically like a little console setup that has a desktop environment. Again, this is a distro that is much more gaming focused, so if you're watching at home trying to find a Linux distro that may make more sense for like work, I mean, Bazzite does work because it has a desktop environment, but there's CachyOS, there is Nabara OS, there is Linux Mint, there's a bunch of different distros you can go down that rabbit hole, but in this video, I feel like most of you are probably gonna lean the modified Windows 11/Windows 10 route. The enthusiast would consider Linux because there are a host of downsides we made a lot of topics about, especially if you're a PC gamer. The anti-cheat support on games, not there just yet, so if you like playing Call of Duty, like playing Fortnite, like playing Battlefield, it's just not happening on Linux, so probably don't want to watch the rest of this if that is the case, but we're gonna let everything get installed, and hey, we're turning this old PC into a Linux workstation. So as long as you didn't have any issues, you guys can see it says complete. Now we're gonna hit reboot system, and then we will be at the setup stage. All right, guys, now that we're into the setup, it's pretty straightforward. We're gonna hit English or whatever language you want. Make sure you pick your time zone. We're going to go with Eastern Standard Time. We have our Ethernet plugged in, so that's what we're gonna use for our networking. It may do some updates, and it does have some weird things because this technically is a modified OS that is designed for handhelds, but has a desktop environment. So you see stuff saying your battery is low. There's no battery. It's a desktop PC, so don't have to worry about that. This is probably gonna do a little reboot here. McAllister might need to do a resync. Steam logo. Now we just have to sign in via Steam. Once again, you do need a Steam account for this. You are going to want to have one because obviously SteamOS clone. So I'm gonna go ahead and sign in here. And then from here, it should take us to our Steam interface, I believe. There it is. We're in big picture mode. Now, this can be controlled with mouse and keyboard if you want to, or plug up a controller. That'd be the best way to do it. But what we're going to do is I want to show you guys the desktop environment. So we're going to switch to desktop real quick. We've done a lot of videos showcasing the game mode. We're going to really focus hard on the desktop environment here for a minute because I feel like if you're going to copy this at home, again, you're gonna wanna use this in a desktop environment, but hey, here it is. Looks pretty clean. We have Steam installed, we have Firefox. You hit the bottom left corner. Somewhat similar to what you would see in Windows. We have the ability to open up some applications, games and stuff. This is your file explorer. Again, this is not gonna be a Linux tutorial, but we do have a running version of Linux that is good to go. I do recommend going through this option if you want to load some extra apps and stuff, but either way, this old PC now has some new life with a Linux operating system installed, and it's pretty straightforward. So in this video, once again, we showed you guys how to do a modified version of Windows 11. Very simple to do, but Windows updates, questionable depending on the hardware. Windows 10 LTSC, it's basically Windows 10, you get long-term support with that, and you can just stick with the operating system you know and love, but you do have to do a new install from your normal Windows 10 install. And last option is Linux. Let's say you just say, screw Microsoft, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with it. You know what? You have that option to be able to go through the Linux route, and Bazzite is just one of the ones I do enjoy. Now, let's wrap this video up.
So you guys just learned 3 pretty cool ways to get around the whole Windows 10 is gone thing by continuing Windows 10 LTSC, or even doing the cracked Windows 11 install, or of course the Linux route, which is about 1,000 different OSs you can choose. But let us know down below if we missed any other options.
And we hope you guys enjoyed this guide. If there's any other guides you want to see here on the YouTube channel, whether it's Windows related or hardware related, let us know in the comments down below. And if you want to download any of the ISOs mentioned in today's video, links in the description down below. They're not affiliate links because you don't buy ISOs.
But we hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/ToastyBros, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
See you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Now, if you don't want to have to worry about choosing your operating system, just go to PCBros.tech because we choose it for you.
Yeah, and a gaming PC. You don't have to worry about upgrading, well, your old PC to work with an operating system. You can buy a new one if you want to. Use code ToastyBros on checkout. You can save 3% of your next purchase. See you guys later. Goodbye.